Hello to everybody, the FutureTrend channel is again with you, and we start our analysis of commodity currencies for the date of 17 May 2018. As we still suggest that, of course, the dollar story is a driving force at the moment, the strength of the United States dollar is a driving force at the moment in the foreign exchange market. Of course, mostly because of higher United States interest rates, expectations, more aggressive stance of the Fed, higher United States Treasury yields. As you know, the benchmark 10-year United States Treasury yields now trading around 3.1%. And there are some American institutions that told that to the end of this year, the yield of 10-year United States Treasury yield could exceed the level of 3.6%. Of course, from that point of view, the United States dollar should remain in strong demand comparing to other currencies, like, for example, here in this kind of analysis, like Australian or New Zealand dollar, because, of course, the Russian ruble is absolutely different story to discuss. The same applies mostly for the dollar Canada, but we know that Canadian economy is very well connected with the United States economy, and usually when we see kind of improvement in economic indicators in the United States, also we have the same in Canada because of close connection, close relations, I mean economic relations between the neighbors. From that point of view, tomorrow's data on consumer price index of Canadian economy should be a kind of most interesting focus for market participants. But that applies for tomorrow. Overall, the Canadian dollar remains rather well supported at the moment, as we suggest. Let's see the chart of dollar Canada. And yesterday, by the way, the pair reached the levels above 129, but anyway now rebounded back to the downside, and now we have the level of 127.70. All in all, here the situation still remains, as we suggest, quite favorable for another upside attempt of the Canadian dollar. And the strength of the Canadian dollar should sooner or later transform to the level of 126.40, where lies kind of nearest uptrend line. Also here, around the level lies moving average 200-day daily line for the pair at 126.47. All in all, this kind of level should present a fast, tougher point to break to the downside for the dollar Canada. From a longer term point of view, the dollar Canada should remain bearishly oriented while trading below longer term downtrend line located around 130.80 with fast reliable resistance around 130 barrier. The Australian dollar, here we have a kind of a rather good, from our point of view, Australian economic numbers during the course of overnight. Australian unemployment rate ticked a little bit higher, but absolute numbers of new workers exceeded the market's expectations, and from that point of view, the Australian dollar should remain buoyant in the nearest future. We still suggest that probably the pair is in the period of trying to form a kind of interim floor against current lows of 74.10. But to really succeed to the upside, the pair should of course break above its 2018 uptrend line located at the moment around 0.77. New Zealand dollar, here the situation is rather negative, still remains rather negative for the Kiwi dollar in the nearest future. And as regarding the dollar ruble, here we suggest that Russian ruble has a potential to improve its position, and probably in the nearest future we even will try to test the psychological important barrier of 60. Anyway, at first attempt we will use such kind of opportunity to buy the dollar ruble, but closer and closer to the world copper that should take a place in Russia, the Russian ruble should remain in demand, as we suggest. Thank you very much for all of your attention. It was a kind of short story, brief story about a commodity block of currencies from a point of view of FutureTrend. Thank you very much, and bye bye for now.